Hello everyone, in this video we will discuss about the two-dimensional arrays. In two-dimensional array, what exactly we understand about the two-dimension is that whenever we talk about the two-dimension, it will always take uh, the 2D figure, and there is some rows and then some columns divided. See this figure and you will understand what actually two-dimensional array is. See, the elements are divided in rows and columns. Also, each row has some definite number of columns. Like here, if I declare the columns as 4 and the rows as 3, then each rows have 4 columns, and that's why it will be 4 in 3 into 4 type matrix structure. The first row and first column will be this, then the first row and second column, first row and third column, and then first row and fourth column. uh, each row and column both are indexed with starting index will be 0, and that's why here it write that row 0 and column 0. This is what column is, the vertical axis is, and the horizontal axis will be considered as row. So each row and column will by this way it will take a matrix structure. First of all, first element will be indexed at A 0 0 0 means the first 0 will be for the row. See, whenever you declare your 2D array, you have to follow this syntax. That is, first of all you have to declare the data type, and then name of your array name. Then this will be the first. In this first parenthesis you will declare the size of rows, and in the second parenthesis you will declare the size of columns. Like here I try to I declare a array type variable integer type, which is of integer type, and it has 3 rows and 4 columns. Okay, this is how you can see, this is what you can see in this picture also, that it has 3 rows and 4 columns. So if I have to declare such array, I can use this given format which is prescribed here. This 3 rows means first row will be indexed with 0, second will be indexed with 1, and third will be indexed at 2. And then same as columns, the this index will be shows as columns, and it will be considered as first 0 1 2 and then 3. See, when you try to initialize and declare both in single line, in this case you have to give the first element of first row in this way, separated by comma. You can use this structure. Okay, see, in between these parentheses you can give the element of first row. That is, in first row there will be 4 elements. Let's say 11, 12, 13 and 14. Let's say there is 4 element in your first row, 11, 12 and 13 and 14. Then you can give this way. In second row, if you have 4 element again, that is 15, 16, 16, 17, 18, then 19, 20, 21 and 22. Okay, so this is how you can initialize and declare both your variable, both your array variable, and of if it is of 2D type you can give the initialization like this. Okay, now if you want to make it user friendly, like if you try to take the values from user. You can use this way. See, in this example, what I try to do is I declare a array variable which have 2 rows and 3 columns. Here, in first line, I declare array 2 rows and 3 columns. Then in next line, what in this for loop, I first of all I have to use 2 for loops. First is for this first external for loop is for rows. Okay, whenever it will increment, the rows will be incremented. Okay, the first for loop is for rows, and the second for loop we have to use for columns. Okay, so see this, I run this loop till 3 because this is for column and column is of 3 size. So up to 3 I run this loop, and I try to run this loop up to 2 because this is for rows. Okay, so this is how you can take an input from user in your 2D array. First element, this array I will shows the row and this will show the column. See, when the first time this loop will run, the very first time, when the very first time this loop will run, the value of in sorry see, in first of all there is I is equals to 0. So for what happened in this scenario is, first of all I is equals to 0, and it will come when I is equals to 0. This loop will start with j is equals to 0. J is equals to 0. Then this element will be scanned, and compiler encounter with this loop. This let's see, the compiler encounter with this curly braces, that is closing braces of inner for loop, and then it will go to this j plus plus. Okay, then j plus plus will shows what j's will be 1. Okay, and this scanf will be executed again, and the next element of first row will be scanned. Then it will be encountered with this curly braces again, that is closing braces of internal for loop, and it will again go to this j plus plus, and j becomes now 2. Okay, the condition will be true, and then this scanf statement will be executed, and the third element of first row will be scanned. Okay, then this inner loop again encountered, and this j plus plus happens, and then it says that j will be 3. So j will be 3, and when it checks the condition it false. So then it will the compiler will terminate this internal for loop, and it will encounter to the external for loop, closing braces of external for loop. Then again it comes to I plus plus. So what happen is I becomes 1. Okay, now I becomes 1 again, then it comes to this internal for loop, and it starts with j is equals to 0. J is equals to 0, fine. Then what happen is, j is equals to 0, the first element of second row, the first element of second row will be scanned, and then this curly braces, the compiler encounter with the curly braces of internal for loop, it will again go to this j plus plus, and j becomes 1. Okay, j becomes 1. Now it will check the condition, and it finds that condition condition is true, so it will come into this internal for loop and scan the second element of second row. Okay, now it again encounters with closing braces, it goes to this j plus plus and j becomes 2. The condition again fulfill and true, then it comes into the for loop and the third element of this second row will be scanned. Then again it encounters with the closing braces and comes to the j plus plus. Now j becomes what? 3. This 3 and it will check the condition and it fails. So this internal for loop, this whole internal for loop will be terminated and compiler come to the closing braces of external for loop. Okay, then it comes to j I plus plus and it finds that I becomes sorry, where am I writing? See, then I becomes what? 2. Okay, now it compiler will see that this condition fails, so it will terminate both the loops. Okay, same for accessing the element, these two for loops will be coordinated as same and the element will be printed on the console of your program. Okay, now let's compile and run this program to see the result of our program. First of all, remove all these. Okay, let's forget this. These all are comment lines, so we can forget. 8 error. Why so? What happened? Okay, with the curly braces here. Zero error. Now run this program. Enter the row 0, column 0 element of array. Let's say I enter 5. Enter the row 0, column 1. Mind it, here is again row is 0 and column is 1. Because what happened is the internal j loop, the for j is equals to 0, the internal loop executed only, and it will be executed up to 3 times, and then the external loop will be executed. Okay, that's why it comes. Let's say I enter C 6 3 7. Now mind this, that the row 1 starts because all the first element of first row will filled first. Okay, so mind, whenever you declare a 2D array, the first of all the first row element of first row will get the elements. First row will be filled first, then the second row, then third row, and the elements will be filled row wise. Okay, let's say I give 9, enter the first row 1, column 1. Let's say I enter 3, let's say I enter 4. See this. Hey, what happened? There is some error in our program. Let's check what happened. Oh, I forget to write J here. That's why it will give error. Now just save this, compile this and run this. Enter the row 0, column 0. Let's say I enter 6, then 7, then 8, then 5, then 3, then 2. See, first of all, array 0 0, that is 0 row and 0th column will be the value 6, then 0th row first column 7, then 0th row second column 8. Then in next line, array first row 0th column 5, first row first column 3, first row second column value 2. This is how 2D array works. I hope you understand how what is 2D array and how it works, and how you can store the value and access that value in your program. Thank you.